I created a platform that just allows us to have conversations about the important things, about the things that are of interest to us, that we are concerned about, and things that will just allow us to support each other. So, with it being National Lupus Awareness Month, I thought it was perfect opportunity for me to come and just share my lupus story and my experiences with the hope of being able to support someone else, right? So I want to share my story, but I also want it to be a discussion. So if you have questions, if you have comments, if you just want to share your story, definitely the leave the comments down below. Um, and let me know that you're here. So if you're here, type lupus in the comments so that I know that you're here and I know that you are engaged, right? So for those of you who may not know me, my name is Dr. Corine Ferebee. I am a mother, a wife, an entrepreneur, um, and a lupus survivor. So that is why I am here. So without further ado, let's get started. So I always say about 3.5, 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with lupus. But really, my journey started about 10 plus years ago. I remember graduating from pharmacy school and just being excited because now, I have a career, I have insurance, I can take care of myself, I can do all those things that I need to do. And so I started to have these symptoms. My joints would ache, I would have like skin issues, I would have extreme shedding of my hair. um I would be anxious all the time, but most of all I was just extremely exhausted. And no matter what I did, I could not get enough rest. I would take naps, I would take vitamin supplements just to try to boost my energy. And so I began to go to the doctor, and unfortunately for me, it was not the best experience because I would go back and forth and I would tell them that I was having these symptoms, and they would try to tell me why I was having the symptoms instead of like digging deeper to figure it out. So for the achy joints, it was, oh, you're standing on your feet for 13 hours a day. Your joints are probably going to ache. You work a lot, you're going to be exhausted. And then for the shedding of the hair and the acne and the anxiety, they said it was all stress induced. So it was like all of these things you are experiencing because of your lifestyle. So it's pretty much, I felt like they were saying it's all your fault, like, so you're going to have to change these things if you want to feel better. And so because they were the expert, I said, well, maybe they're right. So I just continued to live with the pain. I lived with the anxiety, and I just felt unheard, and even discouraged and weak, because I looked at the people around me and they had jobs, they had children, they had households to maintain, they had social life. Why couldn't I have these things? What was going on with me? Why am I not strong enough to do the same thing? And so I kind of just like went into a shell and just continued to live like that until one day my body said, no, ma'am, I cannot do this any longer. And I literally went to get out of the bed one day and fell to the ground. Like my body was done. It could not take it anymore. And so at that point, I reached out to the doctors, um, got an appointment, got in to be seen, because now everyone's in a panic. Everyone's running around like, oh my goodness, what is going on? What did we miss? What did we not look at? And so ultimately what ended up happening is I got diagnosed with lupus. So not only did I have lupus, but I had lupus nephritis. So in addition to the lupus, now my kidneys are failing. I was at stage 4 kidney disease. And of course, they wanted to put me on dialysis. And I was like, no way. I'm in my 30s, 2 small kids, husband, house, career. I'm thinking, I don't have time for dialysis, and that goes back to us not prioritizing ourselves, right? Because I'm thinking, I have things to do. I don't have time to be on dialysis. So, my doctor and I, we discussed it and we decided to hold off on the dialysis, but then that meant I would be on a massive amount of medication. And I think back and I remember one of the first medications they put me on, of course, was Plaquenil. Many of you probably have heard about Plaquenil if you don't take it yourself, because it's been all over the news in relationship to coronavirus treatment. So you probably know that it can be a very harsh, toxic drug. But in addition to that, I was also taking mycophenolate, or also known as Celsep. This is a drug that is usually given to patients who have had a kidney transplant. So once again, another harsh drug, right? So, and the thing about medication is we take medication to treat something, and then we have all of these other side effects that come along with it. And then we're on even more medication. So I was on those medications. I was on things for blood pressure, for anxiety, for insomnia, and the list just goes on and on and on. So before you know it, I was on 14 tablets a day, 14 tablets. And it just so happens that I'm a pharmacist who does not swallow pills well, right? Who would have guessed? So now I'm being forced to take these 14 tablets a day, and that created a whole separate anxiety breakdown every day when it was time to take this medication. And so for me, I knew that this was not something that I would be able to sustain, right? So I had to figure out something different for myself. And I realized that I couldn't wait on doctors or any other type of support to figure it out for me. Like, I had to figure it out for myself. And so I started to do the research. When I tell you, I read every article I could find about lupus, about autoimmune disease, about nutrition, about holistic lifestyle. I read it all. And I'm thankful that the information was out there. It was just a matter of really just educating myself and then taking action, because I decided this is not the life that I want. So therefore, I needed to create what it was that I wanted for myself. And so I started with my nutrition, right? So I looked at, what I was eating and how those things could ultimately affect lupus, affect my body. And I made some decisions. And the first decision that I made was that I needed to take meat off the table. Meat causes a lot of inflammation in the body. And for me, I wasn't a big meat eater, but I knew it needed to come off the table. And so for me, I decided to follow a pescatarian lifestyle. So I do eat fish, very minimal, but I do eat fish. But all other meats, no longer. And what I found is that pretty much immediately I started to feel better. The inflammation starts to go down, but just in general, you have more energy, you feel better. And so I was like, let me take it a step further. So now I've taken meat off the table, and now I reduce the sugar drastically. because we know sugar kills. Sugar causes all type of inflammation and imbalance in the body. And so now, no sugar, no meat. And I started to see results. So now the inflammation is going down, and I wanted to take it to the next step. So the next step for me was fitness. Okay. Luckily, I was the type of person who enjoyed working out. Prior to being diagnosed and, experiencing all of these symptoms that came along with lupus, I worked out. I enjoyed working out. I enjoyed the engagement with other people. But once I started having all the symptoms with the achy joints and just being extremely tired all the time, fitness went out the door. Okay. I had to figure out how to make fitness a part of my life again and make it consistent. And what I always tell people when it comes to fitness, because most people say, how can I work out? I'm too tired. Like, I don't feel good. Do what you can. There were days where I literally worked out for 10 or 15 minutes. You have to start slow and just work your way up. But you have to make a decision that this is what's going to keep you alive. And that's the mentality I had. I said, these are the things that are going to save my life. And once I changed my mindset about the things that I was doing, they became easier. You do them every day, they become easier. So I went from working out 10 minutes a day to being able to work out for an hour, 50 minutes to an hour. So, my advice to people is to just keep moving forward. Make the decision and just keep moving forward. And fitness was really important to me because we all know most people that have lupus, have any, or know someone that has lupus, they know that there are times when you may have to take steroids. And when I was first diagnosed, I was put on extremely high doses of steroids and literally gained like 30 pounds in 6 to 8 weeks. Like, I looked in the mirror and was like, who is this person? Who is she? Where did she come from? Send her back, right? But that's part of the process. That's part of the journey. And I just needed to do things that would allow me to be able to enjoy my life, to be able to, engage and enjoy my kids and my family. So for me, nutrition and fitness was such a big part of that. And when I think about nutrition and fitness, I cannot leave out stress. Anyone who has lupus knows that stress initiates flare-ups, right? So I had to kind of reevaluate my life and say, okay, what are my stressors? What is causing me to stay awake at night, to toss and turn? What brings me anxiety? For me, it just so happened that that was my job. My job created so much stress and anxiety for me. So I had to make a personal decision to make a change, to do something different. And so for me, that was one of the things that led me to creating the business I have. Being diagnosed with lupus, going through all of the things that come with that, and then being able to turn it around with nutrition, exercise, and just knowing how to make myself a priority. I wanted to teach other women how to do that. Unfortunately for women, we feel like we have to do it all. We have to be superwoman. And so we put ourselves on the back burner, and we're no longer the priority. Everyone else is. And so for me, even though you may not be able to say, okay, if I had done these things, I wouldn't have lupus. But if I had made myself a priority, I may have been able to tackle it much sooner. You know, I may have went to the doctor, been diagnosed, but not have been diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease. So I encourage you all to just make yourself a priority. Take care of yourself, take care of your health, because then that allows you to be able to take care of others. So for me, again, it was nutrition, taking meat off the table, reducing sugar drastically, and then exercising consistently every single day. That's what keeps you strong. And then reducing the stress. And so for me, when I decided, okay, I can do these things and I need to tell other women, I need to show other women, that's what encouraged me to create Trinity Wellness RX Consulting. And so what we do is we help women to prioritize their health. And we do this by encouraging, educating, and just empowering women to make their health a priority with medication therapy management, nutrition recommendation, and exercise programming. Okay. And we do nutrition because it is so important what you put into your body. You know, you have to treat your body like a temple, and you don't want to put anything that's going to make your circumstances worse. So we're able to sit down and kind of really look at what it is you're dealing with and figure out the appropriate foods to eat. We do exercise programming because we all need to be exercising. Like, that's the basics, right? Exercising, eating right, sleeping, drinking water. Those are the basics. But as someone who's been down this journey, not only did I begin to exercise because I loved it, I took it a step further and got a certification in personal training. So that allows me to create an individualized training program for you that can help you in this process, help you in this journey. And then finally, medication therapy management. You know, many times, unfortunately, we go to the doctor, they put us on medication. And like I said, one thing causes another thing. And before you know it, you're on 14 tablets a day like I was. And, you know, so we get to sit down, look at that and evaluate. Do you need these medications? What's causing what? You know, what can we alter? And then set you up to have the appropriate conversations with your doctor. So for me, after doing all of these things, I went from 14 tablets a day to now only 2 tablets a day. And that is what I really want to share, you know, that it can be done, you know, regardless of your situation, regardless of where you are on your journey, we can get you to the point of getting the outcomes that you need, the outcomes you deserve, so that you can enjoy your life. You know, I'm so excited right now because I'm just glad that everybody is watching, engaging, encourage, educate, empower. That's right, Kelly. Thank you so much for watching. But I want you guys to make yourselves a priority. You know, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Because once you decide that you are important and that you need to make yourselves a priority, then a lot of the other things, they kind of just fall into place. Because then you're not going to let your health go to the side. You know, you're going to be you're going to be engaged, and you're going to want to exercise, and you're going to take nutrition for its importance and understand why it is that you make the decisions that you make. So definitely put some comments, put some questions down. I have really enjoyed sharing my story. I appreciate you guys watching and listening. And if I can be a support to you in any way, whether it's nutrition and exercise programming, whether it's telling you about my medications and what I took and what I didn't take and what my experience was, definitely reach out, definitely connect. And I just look forward to talking with you. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. I'm not going to keep you, but I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye.